Conversation with a relationship expert, Dr. Gilda Carle. Dr. Gilda, thanks for stopping by. And it's exciting. Again, you wrote for the National Enquirer, you had your own television show, but you know what's happening when it comes to talking about gossip and relationships, don't you?
Well, I hate to call it gossip because, it's real life. It's all of us. We're all involved together. So let's just call it pop culture relation.
Okay, I'll talk pop culture, whatever way you want to call it. I'll
Okay,
call it celebrity news in so many ways. So let's
perfect.
talk about the Diddy trial. I mean, everyone's eyes are on this 24/7, and that's why we're excited about having to have these segments sometimes because everyone's waiting 24/7. So I wanted to go in more of a relationship side with this. Dr. Gillard, what are some early signs that a relationship might have unhealthy power imbalances or control issues? What do you see?
Okay, first of all, it's all about how you feel. Do you feel as though you have no voice? Do you feel as though you entered into this relationship because you wanted something other than love and caring and this guy giving you his back, always there for you? Or was it because you wanted something major that you felt you could not gain yourself? And when we look at Cassie Ventura, look at her background. She went to prep school. She wasn't some kid, some street urchin who wanted to be famous. She went to prep school and she learned early on that it's not what you know, it's who you know. So she's beautiful, she was talented, and she became close to the inner circle to get her what she thought she wanted. But the price is always so high when you go into a relationship for the wrong reasons.
Absolutely. And what do you think those wrong reasons are as a relationship expert?
Well, she figured that, well, P. Diddy has all these connections. P. Diddy has all this money. P. Diddy knows everybody. And because of that, he was going to take her by his hand and lead her to what? To some nirvana somewhere. Well, that didn't work out too well. And she stayed. That's the thing that really gets to me. She stayed there for 10 years.
Right. And that's because you get, and we're going to talk about this more. It's very hard once you get into these abusive relationships, how you really identify and getting out, especially with his power. Based on what you've been hearing in the Diddy trial, how can someone recognize if they're being coercive or manipulative relationship? They're in that.
Well, it depends upon how it starts. If it starts with him telling you what to do, what to wear, how to do it, that doesn't feel so good, does it, inside your heart? So you have to decide, what is it that you really want? Do you want a guy to be there for you? Or do you want all the money and the riches and the fame? And is the pathway to that fame through things that don't make you feel good? She knew better. She knew. And she said that she was into the drugs because then she would be able to conceal her own pain. That's not healthy. And that is not the way anybody wants their child to grow up.
Exactly. And when you put yourself in a relationship, male or female, in just in a type of relationship, the biggest challenge is getting out of it. And really, you lose a lot of your identity. Cassie definitely lost a lot of her identity. People that were involved in relationships, as you know, friendships with Diddy, lost their identity based on the power that Diddy had.
Well, it's the same thing with all the male prostitutes who were around him. One came out and said, "Oh, I don't even want to talk about it." Because they realized after the drugs, after the high, which is all manufactured, after that, they realize, where is my soul? You cannot have any kind of relationship without you having a secure identity to begin with. I always put it this way. You cannot say, I love you, if your I is not capitalized. When I wrote Real Men Don't Go Woke, I wrote it about men feeling abused and used and what is happening to all our men. But it starts with both parties. It's not just men, it's men and women. I wrote another book before that called Don't Lie on Your Back for a Guy Who Doesn't Have Yours. And I am telling every single woman that you do not give it away, because what do you have in the end? Nothing. When I was the Love Doc on MTV, I heard from young women saying, "But I gave him everything, and then he dumped me." That's the problem. You don't give away everything, especially if that everything has to do with who you are. You start with a secure identity, and then you attract people with secure identities. Because one of my Gildagrams, we don't attract who we are. I'm sorry, we don't attract who we want. We attract who we are. So it all starts with us. And every parent, when I did a television show, at one point, I was talking about this book, Don't Lie on Your Back for a Guy Who Doesn't Have Yours. And I was talking about how the men want for their daughters to read this book because they don't want their daughters out there giving it all away and then being crushed when they realize that bought them nothing. So we go back to Cassie Ventura. What did that buy her? She is now a mother. She is pregnant with her third child. She seems to have a good relationship with her husband, and he's there and he's very supportive of her. He has her back now. And he's speaking out that she was abused. But you see, she contributed to it by taking those drugs and being so starry-eyed that everything was going to be wonderful because Diddy was going to save her. You cannot ever go into a relationship thinking that somebody is going to save you.
What steps can individuals take to protect their mental and emotional well-being if they find themselves in such a situation?
Know who you are. Know who you are to begin with. Know what you want. Know what you will tolerate. Know your boundaries. And then stick to those boundaries. It's extremely important that you just don't trash yourself, because the way you carry yourself, the way you promote yourself, the way you discuss yourself with other people teaches them how to treat you.
How important is it to have a support system or trusted individuals to help recognize and address these issues?
It's a wonderful thing to have a support system, but you have to choose wisely. Some people will glom onto you because they think you're with Diddy in that case, in the Cassie Ventura case. Some people will glom onto you because they think that you can provide them with things that they can't provide themselves. But if you are wise and if you are grounded and if you know who you are, you will see through all of those make-believe fantasies, and you will say no. And one of the most beautiful things and valuable things you can learn as a human being who is dating, relating, and mating is to say no.
Right. Absolutely. And, I think about this trial and what do you expect to come up next? A lot of crazy stuff. We're going to be talking about the trial, but we're also going to look at page 6. We're going to look at the news that's happening out there, how that relates in relationships. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about Belichick and his girlfriend, and that's going to be quite interesting as well. And why is it that these men of power, especially at a certain point, lose their power when it comes to women? What's the reason? And I guess your book tells you that right there, right?
Well, you're talking about real men don't go woke. Um, I think Belichick is a very interesting situation because he was tough. He was stoic. He was a man's man. And then all of a sudden, this beautiful young thing comes along and he's like, oh, swept off his feet. But people, I wrote a piece on my blog on www.drgilda.com. I wrote this piece about the Belichick situation, and people were commenting about the age gap. That's not what I was talking about at all. I was young too. And when I was 25, I was dating men pretty old. Also, when I look back, but ultimately, what has happened to this man? He has lost his masculinity
There's maybe it's here's my thinking. Maybe it just could be because she has something on him and we don't know that.
that she has
Has
what
something on dirt
on
on
him.
Belichick. Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know that. But
I'm
I
just placing that out there.
but I do know the attraction between young women to powerful men. I've been there. I was a young woman once too. But you have to know what you say yes to and what you say no to. And she seems as though she's very controlling.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
he's given her the reins to be controlled. He made her CEO of his foundation.
Huh? You know what? Maybe he knew what to do. We'll find out more in that
I
relationship. We can
know.
talk more about it tomorrow. Best place to go is drgilda.com. Appreciate it. All right, you're listening